Now at 5, why a baseball stadium in Carthage has been declared unsafe to use. Plus, on this Valentine's Day, we meet a local couple who've been happily ever aftering for more than 60 years. Plus,
both Republicans and Democrats are pressing for answers about the unidentified object shot down in recent days. I'm Nicole D'Antonio at the White House with the Biden administration's response.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A baseball stadium in Carthage closes because of safety concerns. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The Carl Luton Stadium in Carthage has been home to the Carthage Tigers baseball program for more than 50 years until now. Carthage's city engineer declared it's unfit and unsafe for occupancy due to situations with black mold, electrical wires being exposed, and other structural hazards.
The concrete is bursting, it's breaking down, water has gotten into that, so it's a hazard for people. It's just an unsafe environment. And of course, once we're made aware of the full severity of the situation, we really don't have any other option. The kids can still practice on the field. We just can't have any of the general public or spectators in up and around on the stands and in the building in any way.
They don't have much time to find a solution. The baseball season starts in March. The American College of Physicians recognizes Pittsburgh State University physician with the high-ranking award of mastership. Dr. Kathleen Sandness is grateful for the award and says she's proud to work with students and the staff at PSU's Health Center. She attributes her success to her willingness to learn and adapt.
And then finished my residency in 1991, and that's when I started private practice. That was before cell phones. That was before the box phones. And think about how medicine has changed.
The Mastership Award is the highest attainable award for college physicians. A Fort Scott couple have enjoyed a lot of Valentine's Days. Larry and Jonna K. Ballou are celebrating their 64th anniversary this year. The couple met at a skating rink at Fort Scott in 1957 when Larry asked Jonna to skate with him. During their time together, the couple has traveled to almost every state in the U.S. by car. They say when traveling, it's important not to hurry to get to the destination, but enjoy the time traveling with each other.
We're up in the mountains, and we come down the mountain into this little town, and it was so unique. We just stayed there all day. Walked around.
No, yeah, we didn't.
There was no to here to there. When you take a vacation, it should be a vacation.
After Valentine's Day, the couple says marriage is like a job. You don't have it if you don't work for it every day of your life. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, we had the showers. We had the thunderstorms across the region. During the morning hours, we've cleared out a bit this afternoon. Still very windy, wind advisory in effect through a good chunk of the overnight hours for most of the 4-state area. And this is what we are going to see as we go through the overnight hours tonight. But look at all the rain, just periods of showers and storms through the morning. Then we got a little bit of sunshine. Some thunderstorms popped up, mainly in our northern counties, and that's what we're seeing at this point in time. But most of you are going to stay dry as we go through the rest of the overnight hours. All right, rainfall amounts where you see the green, over a ½ inch, but most of us near a ½ inch, which of course we need. At the airport in Joplin, just shy of a ½ inch. So for the month, 1.77 inches of rain. Of course, still very windy. Winds are gusting out there, and this is going to stick around tonight. Also, big changes again for us tomorrow. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you soon. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a political debate. Senators received a confidential briefing today about the unidentified object shot down in recent days. Lawmakers are demanding answers for all of America. Nicole D'Antonio reports from the White House.
Senators received a closed-door Pentagon briefing Tuesday about the recent shootdowns of unidentified flying objects, and there are calls on both sides of the aisle for greater transparency.
99% of the information we were just briefed on, there's no reason it can't be shared with the American people.
The American people need and deserve to know more.
CBS News has learned the object shot down over Alaska Friday looked like a metallic drum about the size of a small car. The one shot down Saturday over Canada's Yukon Territory looked cylindrical and was carrying a tethered payload. And the one downed in Lake Huron Sunday was shaped like an octagon with strings hanging off of it. Tuesday, military officials acknowledged the first missile fired at the object missed.
The missile landed harmlessly in the water of Lake Huron. We tracked it all the way down.
The remnants of all three objects are in very difficult terrain and have not yet been recovered.
What we're trying to do here is provide as much information as we can.
While President Biden has remained largely silent on the matter, he has ordered his national security advisor to assemble a team from various agencies to handle future encounters with unidentified objects. The Chinese spy balloon downed earlier this month prompted a closer look at these objects in U.S. airspace. Crews have recovered a significant portion of the balloon's antenna from the seafloor. Security experts say China may have had several motives.
They may be considering that should we ever go to war, that this might be a way to deliver weapons.
Senators are scheduled to receive a classified briefing on the balloon on Wednesday. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, the White House.
Now, the White House press secretary stressed at today's briefing that, quote, there is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns, saying it's important for the American people to hear that. Nikki Haley made it official today. She's running for president in 2024. The former South Carolina governor and United Nations ambassador announced her candidacy in a video posted on Twitter. 51-year-old daughter of Indian immigrants becomes the first major challenger to former President Donald Trump for the Republican nomination. Other Republicans, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former Vice President Mike Pence, are all expected to join the race. Investigators have identified the suspected gunman in the deadly shooting last night at Michigan State University. 3 students were killed, 5 others critically injured. Police say this surveillance photo led to a tip that helped officers find the gunman. Authorities identified that shooter as 43-year-old Anthony McCrae. They say he took his own life last night during a confrontation with police miles from the campus. They add he has no known ties to the university, past or present, and so far there was no word on a motive for that attack. The United Nations says the death toll from last week's earthquake in Turkey will probably more than double the 37,000 already confirmed dead. Anger is growing in the region as police issue hundreds of arrest warrants to contractors, architects, and engineers connected to the buildings that collapsed. Still ahead, lonely hearts.
It can be as dangerous as obesity or substance abuse. I'm Skylar Henry in Washington with more on loneliness and what's crucial for survival.
Plus, the best time of day to work out if you want to burn fat. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, if you're lonely, you're in good company. More Americans are reporting feelings of loneliness, which can have a direct impact on their heart and brain health. So where do all the lonely hearts go? Skylar Henry reports.
It's the capital city of the United States, and Washington, D.C. is also recently dubbed the loneliest place in the country. That's according to the Chamber of Commerce, which based its rankings on the number of single-person households. But living alone and loneliness aren't the same thing.
It's often defined as being based on the discrepancy between our desired level of connection and actual level of connection.
Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstadt has been studying loneliness for more than 2 decades. She says researchers have been seeing declining trends in social connection and increasing trends in isolation for years, and the pandemic made things worse. A 2021 Harvard survey found 36% of all Americans, including 61% of young adults, reported feeling serious loneliness.
We have very good evidence that it impacts our cognitive functioning as well as our physical health and ultimately our longevity.
According to the American Heart Association, social isolation and loneliness are associated with about 30% increased risk of heart attack or stroke, or death from either.
Experts say just as hunger motivates you to get something to eat, loneliness motivates you to get out and make those social connections.
It takes a lot of courage to connect with someone new to begin with.
Robert Kinsler is the founder of DC Fray, which offers recreational sports leagues, games, and even free events for people looking to connect.
People just want to have something fun to do. They need that little extra structure to make it easier to connect with people.
Whether it's through recreation, volunteering, or quality time with loved ones, experts say those relationships can be a pathway to a healthy and connected heart. Skylar Henry, CBS News, from the loneliest city in America.
Experts say the safety and walkability of your neighborhood can influence loneliness, along with systemic issues like discrimination and marginalization. Working out in the morning may burn more fat than working out in the evening. Researchers in Sweden found mice exercising during their active phase increased their metabolism more than those exercising when they're usually at rest. It's not yet clear whether the same is true for humans. While mice are a well-established model, a key difference here is that they are nocturnal. And the American Heart Association is highlighting the importance of optimizing cardiovascular health before pregnancy. Recent studies show poor cardiovascular health can lead to complications for mother and baby, such as being born preterm, which is associated with a 53% higher risk of heart disease by age 43. Researchers also found having type 2 diabetes before becoming pregnant increases the chances a child will develop cardiovascular disease by about 40% before age 40. A little bit later, the cost of living and the cost of loving.
The government releases the latest numbers on inflation. I'm Michael George, and I'll tell you how much more those Valentine's Day gifts will cost this year.
Plus, we still have the wind sticking around and even some more rain chances in the forecast. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be a very wet day for us today. Also very windy, especially during the afternoon once we got the rain out of here. We still have a lot of clouds. Of course, this is our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo Sky is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temperatures pretty good for us today. Most of us mid-upper 50s, a little bit cooler once you get into our northern counties, but we still have that strong southerly wind, and the winds are going to stick around as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Look at our sustained winds, kind of in that 20 to 30 mile per hour range, and we've been getting gusts throughout the afternoon, kind of 40, upwards of 45, even pushing 50 at times. These will start to calm down a bit once we get through the overnight hours for us tonight. So thankfully the winds will start to calm down as we go through the overnight hours. All right, winds are forecast. You can see they really do calm down quite a bit later on tonight. And then once we get into the daytime hours tomorrow, they'll be much better across the region. Let's go outside. Here's 7th and Range Line. Currently, we are sitting at 57 degrees. Still have those southerly winds at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So through the evening hours, we kind of hang out in the 50s, and eventually we cool down to about 39 later on tonight. So it will become quite a bit cooler. All right, behind all the heavy rain we had earlier today, a secondary batch has kind of rotated through our northern counties. So we do have some showers out there, Fort Scott, North, Nevada, and North, but most of us are going to stay dry as we go through the overnight hours. Look at the very classic comma shape to the storm system due to an area of low pressure, so it's counterclockwise. We get rid of this. Here comes our next system. This will start to affect us tomorrow night and then heading into Thursday. So let's step through time. We drop back mid to upper 30s, clearing out tonight. Notice the winds. They're out of the northeast. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. We have clouds in our northern counties, sun in our southern counties. As we get into the afternoon, look how most of us have a northeasterly wind. Southern counties have a south wind. It's due to a front kind of draped in our southern counties. So our temperatures, huge contrast. Yates Center, your high is about 45 or 46. Pittsburgh, only about 52. Joplin, you'll get into the upper 50s. But our southern counties will be into the mid 60s. So we're going to have about a 20-degree spread. As we go into tomorrow evening, showers, even a few thunderstorms, erupt again. These are going to be a little bit more scattered than what we had through the morning hours. But also notice our northern counties get a little bit of sleet and a little bit of snow mixing in, and then all this is gone on Thursday we turn sharply colder. High temperatures on Thursday are only going to be into the mid-30s. Tomorrow night, with that sleet and snow, very light accumulations, not a big deal, but most of us won't get any wintry weather. 39 in the morning, 56 by noon. High temp right around 58 for us tomorrow afternoon. Then look at Thursday, only 34 down to 20 by Friday morning. Friday looks pretty good. The weekend looks great. Look at Sunday, high temps pushing 60. Then rain chances back in Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Sunday looks like a good day to be outside.
Football's over. Yeah.
What else is there to do?
I know.
Have to get outside, I guess. Thanks, Doug. The numbers from the latest inflation report up next. A new report shows inflation is slowing down overall, but necessities remain expensive and Valentine's Day gifts are also on the rise. Michael George has a look inside the numbers.
Flowers for that special someone are more expensive this year. A big reason why: it costs more to grow them. The price of natural gas, which is used to heat greenhouses, has shot up.
Our production costs have gone 3 times higher than what they normally are during this time of the year.
Buying sweets for your sweetheart is also pricey. A new report shows candy increased more than 12% from last year, and the cost of a romantic dinner is about 8% more. Overall, prices increased 6.4% in January, down from December's increase and much lower than the peak of 9.1% last June.
I think that this inflation report shows minor improvement, but there are still some categories that really are sticking out.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says one category of concern is food. Groceries are up more than 11%, and eggs skyrocketed a whopping 70% because of an avian flu outbreak that killed millions of birds. The Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to slow prices and is keeping an eye on something called supercore inflation, which includes everyday services we use.
Things like plumbers or a hairdresser, a barber, a lawyer. When you look at that, you see that the prices for those services remains quite high and does not appear to be budging.
Because of that, the Fed is expected to once again raise rates when the board meets next month. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
According to the National Retail Federation, Valentine's Day is no longer just for lovers. The retail trade group predicts consumers will spend an average of $14 more this year versus last on gifts for pets and friends and coworkers and their children's classmates and teachers. In all, the NRF says consumers are expected to spend nearly $26 billion on presents and a night out. Ford Motor Company announced plans to build a $3.5 billion factory in Michigan to make lower cost batteries for electric vehicles starting in 2026. The facility will be about 100 miles west of Detroit and will employ at least 2,500 people. While Ford says the factory will be owned by a wholly owned subsidiary, a Chinese company with expertise in lithium iron phosphate is expected to supply technology, some equipment, and workers. And were you one of the estimated 26 million Americans who missed part or all of work yesterday to recover from Sunday's Super Bowl? Yeah, well, now a Tennessee lawmaker is working on a bill that would make the Monday after the Super Bowl an official state holiday there. A poll from Workforce found that 2 out of every 5 workers agree that the day after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. Not a Chiefs fan, certainly thinks so. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, the ultimate love story, how 2 patients' hearts brought them together. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to learn more about Carl Luton Stadium in Carthage being deemed unsafe and unfit for occupancy. Plus, Missouri joins 10 other states proposing bills for right to repair for farm equipment. And the Pitt State baseball player earns MIAA Hitter of the Week. Stay with us. CBS Evening News, KOAM News at 6. Doug Heddy, final look at the weather.
All right, it's going to stay windy for us tonight. We're going to drop back into the mid to upper 30s. 58 tomorrow, but quite a span. Our northern counties only in the 40s, southern counties into the 60s. More rain rolling in for us tomorrow night.
I hope your voice fully recovers from all that screaming after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I took it a little too far.
Maybe so. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we'll be right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.